Welcome, everybody. Oh, nobody came up all of a sudden. What's going on?
Good morning.
You know I'm a preacher too, right? Y'all got to do better than that. Let's come again. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Now we're talking. All right. So we're going to get this moving. It's going to be a step-by-step simple process. The idea of this today is for you to start working on your network and building your network for yourself and your business. Okay. We got the attorneys here today. They're going to talk about what they do. I'm going to give you a chance to ask them questions as a group. And then I'm going to have you a chance to get up out your seat and go shake their hands and talk to them individually about your business and your group. Okay? At the same time, we're going to eat. But first of all, we got to do the proper stuff. Ms. Calloway.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Phyllis Calloway, and I am the director of the Southwest Florida Enterprise Center for the City of Fort Myers. It is a pleasure to stand before you all this morning and welcome you all to our panel. Thank you for taking your busy time. I'm not getting those hourly rates right now, but we really appreciate you taking your time to give back to those of us that are trying to grow businesses here in the community for the City of Fort Myers, the County of Lee, and the state of Florida. At the Enterprise Center, we are a business incubator, and we bring in new businesses and do a structured curriculum to show you all how to build business from start to finish. When we graduate you out after the 2-year program, we assist you continuously in a post-incubator program to ensure that you are able to apply what you've learned from us out in the community. The whole focus is growth, and to keep that revenue in our city, in our county, and in our state. I'm not going to prolong this wonderful event because I'm excited to hear from the panelists, and I just hope that all of you take the opportunity that Mr. Ford and Southwest Florida Impact Partners is offering today. Thank you all so much, and welcome to the Southwest Florida Enterprise Center.
Now, most of you probably hadn't been in some unorthodox meetings like this before. But this is the way this is going to go. Right now, I'm going to bless the food. What that means is after I bless the food, and most of y'all know, you go there and get you something to eat.
Lee, can I just say one thing? I know there were some people who addressed to me about the fact they didn't eat meat. And I told you that you're going to have salad here, but the salad does have the meat on top of it, but you can take the meat off.
Also, there's fruit cups. You can eat fruit. But what we're going to do, I'm going to bless the food, as I said, and then I'm going to let you get your meal. Give you a few minutes to do that. Then once you all get seated, I'm going to let these panelists introduce themselves. In doing their introduction, they will then talk about, not only introduce you to them, but they're going to talk about what they do. And then at some point, we'll get through the panel. Then we're going to give you a chance to ask them questions as a group. Okay? As you said. After that, you're going to get a chance again to get up out your seat. And if you want to talk to this beautiful lady right here about what she does and how can you connect with her, that's what you do. This is you making connections to build your business. And it is your business. But if you don't, you can still ask questions to these young people and get their information. You can take it somewhere else to another lawyer. It doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is, at the end of the day, you need an attorney in your corner. You need a relationship with one. Not acquaintance. Oh, I know Mr. Jim, he's a lawyer. You need a working, networking relationship with an attorney. Trust me, when the time comes and you need one, you better have a relationship with them. Because you need everything they got in them to get you where you need to go and get you through it. So it's an important thing for you to do here. So I'm going to stop talking, which I'm good at, and bless the food, okay? Almighty gracious Father, we want to thank you for this occasion. We want to thank you for bringing us together and allowing us to have this opportunity to engage, to improve ourselves and our positions in the business world. And Lord, we ask you bless this food that we're about to receive in the hands that prepared. In Christ Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, y'all grown now. You know you go get your food.
All the sandwich are the same chicken sandwich, which are here. If these run out, there's more in the bag. The salads are there, the fruit cups in the middle, and all the
You know what, I should
right there
have.
for.
I should let you guys go first.
That's okay, I probably don't, I don't need to be here, I will still, but I do. I'll wear most of what I have.
We got some cool water in that bucket. It's a little refrigerated this morning, so it's pretty cool. She doesn't have to say. Miss, you gonna speak today? I found myself ready. Huh? You gonna speak today? You ready to go? Okay, gonna start with Miss Lena. Carlina. Y'all, you know me, I mess up everybody's names I met with me so far. So y'all know that's the tradition.
My name is Carlina Hull, and I also mess up everyone's name all the time. I never remember names, I always spell them incorrectly. It's an ongoing issue. Anyway, I have been down in this area since 1984. My dad moved here when I was 10 years old, and my parents had sort of an uncommon arrangement when I was a kid in that they had 50-50 custody of me. So, you know, back in the 80s, that was pretty rare for a father to have 50% custody of his child. And so what that meant was half of my time was spent in Southwest Florida, and the other half of my time was spent up in Nebraska. And so it was very different, like two completely different worlds growing up. But I appreciate that because it allows me to relate to lots of different situations. So up in Nebraska, my family, my mom's side of the family, and my husband and his family are 5th generation farmers. So they actually grow crops, raise cattle, all of that good stuff. Back in 2004, I inherited some farm ground from my grandparents when they both passed away. And so my husband farms that land now, and we are actually certified organic farmers. We don't have livestock, but my husband has a certified organic farm with USDA federally certified organic farming operation, which he does with my son, who's 23. And before I became a lawyer, I worked for 17 years in the livestock industry. So I was actually a veterinary technician, and I worked with large animals, hogs, cattle, horses, dogs, cats, all of it. When I was 36 years old, I decided to go to law school. You know, being a large animal vet tech, it's hard on you, it's hard on your back, working with heavy large animals all the time, so I needed a desk job. Went to law school, graduated, and I decided to take the Florida bar exam first. Not expecting to pass it because it's really hard. It has a very low passage rate, especially for out-of-state applicants and takers. By some miracle, I passed on the first try. And I didn't know what I was going to do with that other than hang out my own shingle, open my own law firm, just to see what happened. I did that and almost immediately started being blessed with really good clients. A lot of them I received through the Lee County Bar Referral Service. And so a lot of my first clients were folks who couldn't necessarily afford a fancy, large, expensive law firm. And with me being a new attorney, I tried my best to cater to those people and help them, and we learned together. So probably the first 10 or 15 cases I did, it was sort of like, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm telling you I don't know what I'm doing, but let's figure it out together and I will give you a discount because of that, because I don't know what I'm doing. So it worked out really well, and my business has grown. I was licensed in 2020, started right away in 2020, and since then, my primary practice areas are helping very small businesses get started. So people that are, starting with 1, 2, 3 members, they have an idea that they'd like to move forward and aren't quite sure how to do it other than register an LLC with FundBiz, the Florida Department of Corporations. The other part of my business deals with probate, which is after someone passes away, sometimes they leave estate assets that need to be taken care of through the court system. So I do that, and I also work with landlords who are small business owners. They rent property out, and I help them with lease agreements. I help them if they need to remove a tenant or change something about how they rent their property. So those are the 3 main areas of my practice right now. I do some small estate planning if you need like a will, something very simple, a durable power of attorney, something like that. I got you. If you have like millions of dollars and need a fancy trust or something else, I'm going to send you to someone who's better equipped and has more resources to help you with that. With that said, I've probably helped about 50 small businesses get started since 2020. And what I do is I am a resource and a sounding board in addition to helping people with their documents. So depending on what business you're starting, you might need some contracts for your employees, some agreement letters or contracts for your customers. There's a pretty wide variety of things that I can help with. But in addition to legally relevant stuff that your business might need, I'm also a sounding board for, hey, is this a good idea? Or are there any legal implications if I were to do this? Because what I find with really small businesses is that people are bouncing all of this stuff off of their friends or their close family members. And if your mom is like my mom, she encourages me in all that I do. So even if something isn't such a great idea, she's like, oh, yeah, that sounds good. But what you really need is a lawyer or somebody who's a neutral party that can say, no, that's probably not such a great idea, or maybe you should do this first. And most attorneys don't have a problem telling people no, or having a negative comment or a more constructive comment, maybe not negative, but let's use constructive. For something that maybe isn't the best idea, like should I take a $150,000 business loan to open up my pet grooming salon? Probably not a great idea because you need to keep your overhead low if your income at the outset is going to be fairly low. And so what I like to do is just meet with people individually. They have my number. They can usually reach me in the same day. Just if you call me, you're going to get the same phone number that my mom has. Because I'm a small business too. I'm a fairly new business. My clientele has not exceeded the rate of, where I'm getting 70 phone calls a day and somebody else needs to answer my calls. So for now, most people who call me get me right away, and I think that's a benefit, especially if you need help right away or you're trying to get your business going and you just have a quick question. Anyway, well, I'm happy to talk with anyone and help anyone with anything that they need, and I'm going to turn it over to Christy now.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Christy Scott. I am an attorney as well. I am a product of a single mom. I am the first person in my family to graduate from a 4-year university. I'm the first lawyer in my family, and I'm blessed to be in front of you today. I've been practicing law for almost 10 years, and my firm is a little bit unique because I own a Christian law firm. I put God first in everything that I do because I know that but for the grace of God, I would not be here. I am supposed to be a statistic, okay? And based on where I come from and the fact that a lot of people in my family got pregnant in high school, some people in my family didn't graduate high school, and that sort of thing. So I know that but for God's grace, I wouldn't be where I am. So I put God first. And so I have a Christian law firm. What does that mean? That means that we do pray every day because we're smart. I pass the Florida bar. I have 2 lawyers that work for me. They pass the Florida bar. But we're not as smart as God, and we can use God's help, right? So every morning we get together, we talk about our cases, but we also pray and we ask for God's help. And so I do think that we get some really good outcomes, and sometimes things happen that we might not even expect, and I think it's because we put God first. And in addition to that, we, of course, we try to uplift our clients. Sometimes people who are contacting lawyers are going through a really stressful situation, and so we try to use our Christian beliefs to kind of just calm their minds and things of that sort. But what us having a Christian law firm does not mean is it doesn't mean that all of our clients have to be Christians. It doesn't mean that even everybody on our staff has to be a Christian, okay? It just means overall we are going to pray for our clients and we're going to trust God, okay? So what types of cases do we handle? We represent small businesses. So I know that all of you are either interested in starting a business or you have a small business. You are our ideal client, okay? We also represent churches because churches need lawyers too. So if you go to a church and your church doesn't have a lawyer, you can tell them to reach out to us. We do represent a lot of churches because churches have a lot of the same business issues that business owners do. We also handle a lot of employment matters. So this is both for businesses and for employees. Businesses, you're going to have employment issues. As soon as you start hiring employees or hiring independent contractors, you're going to need contracts. You might have a question of, is it okay for me to terminate this employee based on this set of facts? That sort of thing. You need all kinds of things with employment. And then for employees, sometimes employees run into issues like sexual harassment, discrimination, wrongful termination, those types of things, and we handle those types of cases. And that brings us into the last thing that we do, which is litigation. And if you're not that familiar with the legal field, that word might sound foreign to you, but litigation basically means people or businesses suing each other. So you have a contract, one of your vendors is supposed to provide you with 1,000 of whatever by a certain date. They don't provide it to you. You call us, okay? Or someone does something that is negligent that causes you damages. You call us, okay? Or you get something that says that you're being sued. You call us. Like those types of things. That's litigation, and we handle those types of cases. So I have been here in the Fort Myers area for about 10 years. I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina, so I'm from a big city. And up in Charlotte, me and my husband, we got married. We were married for a couple of years. I worked in the mutual fund industry, so I worked in investments. And my husband was working for Dell. And both of us thought to ourselves, are we really happy with what we're doing? Maybe we should do something different. My husband went and got an MBA, and I decided to go to law school. And we said, whoever gets the job first, that's where we're going. And my husband, an MBA program is not as long as a law program. So my husband got a job first in a place called Fort Myers that I had never heard of. But, I said, we made a deal. So we moved to Fort Myers, and I try to be a very positive person. So I said, okay, we're moving to this place. I don't know anybody, but I'm going to love it. And I made that decision 10 years ago, and I do love it here, and this is our home. We've grown. We now are a family of 5, so I have 3 little ones. I have a 9-year-old and 7-year-old girls who are going to be tennis pros, the next Venus and Serena. And I also have a 2-year-old little boy named Justice, because I'm all for justice. And so that's my family, what my family is like, and so we're just growing and enjoying our time here. As I mentioned, I didn't grow up thinking that I would be a lawyer, and I didn't know even 15 years ago that I was going to be a lawyer. But I believe that if you're optimistic and you believe in yourself, you can do anything. And so I want to commend all of you for getting involved in starting your own business, because I know that that's not something The primary way that I can help you is much of the same thing that Ms. Hull said. I primarily help small businesses either, like, first just get started. Make sure that you have all of your documents that you need, especially people who are starting businesses with multiple owners. Like, do you have an operating agreement? Do you have a shareholder agreement? Do you have bylaws and those types of governing documents? And then once you're kind of running your businesses, do you have the right types of contracts? So I have people that reach out to me that say, hey, I have a business where I rent RVs or I rent, certain types of supplies. And so I help them come up with their actual contracts that they're going to give to their customers. I also help them come up with contracts that they're going to give to other vendors. So whenever they're doing business with others, they're protected. They call me whenever they want to get involved in some type of big deal. So like they might say, hey, we're about to enter into this big deal and I need some type of contract to protect my interests, and I help them with that. Sometimes business goes bad and they say, hey, we want to remove one of our co-owners from the business. So I help with that sort of thing. And then like I mentioned, a lot of employment issues. I'm to the point where I can't handle everything on my own. So there's pros and cons to like your business grows, right? So whenever you contact my office, I'm the person that you will talk to for the consultation, but I don't do everything myself. So I currently have 2 other attorneys that work for me, and I also have paralegals that work for me. So every one of our clients has an assigned paralegal and then has an assigned attorney. I'm typically the assigned attorney, but whenever you tell me I need a contract to prepare, then I don't necessarily draft that contract myself. I typically reach out to one of my other lawyers. I say, look, Lindsay, this person needs a contract that says blah, 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 blah. Lindsay prepares the contract, she gives it back to me. Nothing leaves my office without my eyes looking at it. So I'll review it and then we give it to the client, okay? So that's kind of how my firm works. We are a staff of 7, and that's like Path Law Firm, the Christian law firm here in this area. Thank you all.
I guess it's my turn. So Carlina and Christy have very interesting background, and I love Christy's voice. Doesn't she talk very smooth like me? So I have the opposite voice. I don't know if you hear my New York or New Jersey accent. I'm originally from there. I came down here in 2005, so I've been down here for about half my career. Most of the time, my name is Brian Zinn, by the way. Most of the time, I worked for a large law firm up in New Jersey, and when I started down here, I worked for a large law firm, but eventually in 2011, I decided to go out on my own. So I know what it is to start a small business. And actually from 2011, for about 7 years, I was the only person in the office. I had no employees, nothing. I did everything. I answered the phone, did my calendar, changed the toner in the printer, everything. So I know what it's like to start a small business. Now, I have an attorney. If you count me, it's 4 attorneys. I have a law firm. It's 4 attorneys, and we also have a paralegal. And what we do is we do things that are similar to Christy. We do a lot of legal disputes, litigation. We deal with contract disputes, real estate disputes, construction law. If you got harmed from the hurricane, if you had a house and you're having trouble with your insurance company, with your roof, we do that type of work. If you have a dispute with someone regarding a contract, a lot of people, what they do is they come to me when it's too late, after they sign the contract and after they get themselves into hot water. And the best thing to do, though, is before you get into any kind of a business deal or contract that's significant, you should call an attorney, because an attorney can give you advice. Don't call your friends, don't call your uncle, unless they're attorneys, okay, in that area of the law. And I'll give you an example. Just yesterday, I met with someone. They were going to buy a mobile home, from someone, and they wanted to make sure it didn't have hurricane damage or anything like that. The person assured them it didn't have hurricane damage. They made a deposit of $35,000. Then they found out shortly before the closing on the mobile home that it did have hurricane damage, and they were covering it up. So she says, I don't want to go through with it. They sent her a docu-signed copy of the contract with her signature on it that she never signed. And at that point, she should have called us. But what she did was, she spoke to her friends and her relatives, and they told her, well, there's nothing you can do, you might as well go ahead with it. So she has the closing, she ends up moving into the mobile home, and then like 2 or 3 weeks later, then she comes to me. And at that point, I said, you know, you have a potential case, but what you did was, is you waived the right to get out of the deal. You basically accepted the signature and went ahead with the closing. She didn't like that. She's going to go look for another attorney who's going to yes her to death and take her money probably, and she's going to end up losing that lawsuit. So a lot of my clients, what they do is they have us on retainer, where they'll pay a certain retainer down, an amount of money, and then they can call me asking us for advice or anything like that. And you're welcome to do that too. You could call Carlina or Christy and do the same thing, I'm sure. We're all here to help. There's a lot of people who need attorneys here in Fort Myers. So that's one thing that we do. We kind of have a reputation among other attorneys that we like taking challenging cases and complicated cases and weird cases. Because I don't do boring stuff. I like doing really interesting things. So I get referrals from other attorneys who don't want to deal with certain cases or whatever. And we have a lot of experience in the office. We have a lot of attorneys who've been practicing for many years. I've been practicing for 35 years. We will also review contracts for you before you sign them. I know that they will probably do the same thing, Christy and Carlina. I don't prepare the contracts, but I'll review the contracts for you and let you know what holes I see in the contracts, things like that. And it's hard to describe everything that we do because almost any weird situation can come up. I have one person who's being sued by someone who was at a block party, and the person was walking somebody's dog, and the person at the block party shouted for the dog's name, and the person who was walking the dog jolted, the leash went out of her hands, knocked down the person that was calling her, and she suffered 2 broken bones in her arms, and now she's saying she has permanent nerve damage. And she's suing the person that was holding the dog, even though it wasn't even their dog. And so they've hired us to defend them in that case, because I think that's a pretty good case, because that person was contributory negligent by calling for the dog. They knew the dog, they knew the dog's name, they knew the dog could pounce. So there's never any type of case that's like an open and shut case. Usually there's no black and white, it's usually gray, and that's why you want to get a good attorney that gives you good advice. I will never tell a client that I guarantee them a result one way or another. I usually tell them what's good or bad about their situation and what they should do. And I often encourage people to settle without going to a lawsuit, because lawsuits can get really expensive. So, a little off topic is there's something called BNI. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of it. It's called the Business Networking International. And what it is, I'm a member of BNI. And once you start getting your business going, once you're going for like a year or so, I suggest joining a BNI group. It's free to visit. And what they do is, let's say there are 20 people in the group. Each person in that group is a different occupation. So you could have a plumber, a roofer, a divorce attorney, a realtor, and what you do is you not only refer people to each other, but whoever they meet, they will keep you on top of your mind and refer those people to you. And I've been in BNI for 4 years now, and I can tell you that I've gotten tons of referrals just from people who normally wouldn't refer to me. But because I got to know these people, you meet once a week in the morning, and there are plenty of BNI groups in Fort Myers. I'm in one of them. And you'll see it. It doesn't hurt to visit and to try it out. The name of my law firm is Zinn Law, and I'd be happy to talk to you about it. You can always give me a call. I give free consultations, no matter how long it takes. And thank you very much.
You know, he said something that reminded me of BNI Group. I forgot they was even out there. Because I remember back in the day, I used to be a part of that.
Oh, okay.
That is a very good thing for anybody that's new, and especially if you're in the service business. It's a very good connection and network to be a part of. Because just like he said, that's what they do. They're out there working, they get somebody, always ask questions. You know somebody that do something, you ask them, say, hey, do you know a good counselor or attorney or plumber or electrician or whatever, a gymnast, fitness person? Then you tell them who you know. And that's how they spread it around. They support each other by helping them build each other's network and business. Now, this is the time where you get to ask these young folks here questions. As a group, if something cross your mind, you want to ask questions, ask questions. Now, keep in mind, this is a little different. If you notice what you heard first, most of them told you about themselves, their personal life, not their profession. Then they went into their profession and what they do as attorneys. What's the difference in that? Do anybody know? Somebody
Relationship. Relationship.
I ain't asked you, you put me around the camera. I'm just kidding. I'm just having fun. No, seriously, that's right. This is a whole different level of conversation. You are trying to develop a relationship with an attorney. Now, we're going to have these other folks coming here too, the bankers and all the rest of them. And they all want to do the same thing, but this is different. I'm not trying to tell you to get a lawyer to go down and run the case for you if you got the issue. I'm trying to get you a relationship with an attorney that you can call at any point, any time. And they know you already. You ain't got to go through your situation. You just tell them what the issue is. And they'll go to work for you as an advocate, not just an attorney. Because an attorney going to tell you, say, well, I need $10,000 to even look at this. So you need to bring me a check and then I'll take a look. They still may ask you 10 grand, but they're not going to tell you that. They're going to say, well, let me look into it right away and see what's going on, see what we can do. You know what your obligation is when you call them. Am I right? Yes. We need to keep this in concept. Now, these three people gave you their talk. Now, this is what I want you to do. If you got a question, when you get up, I'm going to tell you what your business is, who you are, what's your business, and then ask you a question. Now, all you smart people, I know, so y'all don't, so if nobody get up, so I'm assuming this meeting could be over with, because y'all don't need no help from nothing. Y'all got it all together already, right? Huh? Except one person. I don't want Chris getting up asking nothing. Y'all know Chris? Yes. Anybody here know Chris? Yes. Raise your hand if you know Chris. So you know why I'm saying that, right? No, I'm just kidding. So, anybody here has any questions?
I love you too.
Yeah, I have one.
Well, who are you?
I work with Mr. Lee and I'm having a question because it's been asked, people have asked me so many times as when I'm working with Southwest Florida Impact Partners, is that how much is a retainer fee and how long does a retainer fee last and how do you calculate that in?
So I'll start, and then if you guys can add in. So you all would not like this answer, but it depends. It depends. For us, it depends on why you're reaching out to us. Like someone that's reaching out to us that says, hey, I'm a small business, I just want to have you in case I need you. They're gonna get a different quote than someone that calls us and says, I'm being sued and my answer is due in a week, and I'm being sued for $100,000. So for us, it depends. I will tell you all generally, the way that it works is that there will be some sum of money that you pay, and we put that money, this is just our firm, theirs might be different, we put that money into a trust account. So we'll tell you, like let's say that you don't have any problems, you just want to have an attorney that you can call periodically whenever you need us. You have a question here and there. For me, I would probably say maybe like a $1,500 retainer, okay? We take that $1,500, we put it into a trust account, which means that technically that money still belongs to you. But you sign a contract authorizing us to withdraw from that trust account as we do work for you, okay? That is how we do it. And our hourly rate, like if anything that I do, if I work on something for a full hour, the cost is $325. But as I mentioned to you all, oftentimes I don't work on something for a full hour. You might come in, you might meet with me, you tell me what you need for a contract, we have a 30-minute conversation, I'm gonna charge you for 30 minutes. And then I'll outsource to maybe one of my paralegals or one of my associate attorneys to actually prepare that contract at lower rates. My paralegals charge between $125 and $150 an hour. My other associate attorneys charge between $250 and $275. So they prepare it at a lower rate. They give it back to me. It takes me 10 more minutes to review it. So you just add that up, and that's what we will take from your trust account. But depending on your matter and what it is, that retainer can be super low or it can be very, very high. That's how we do it.
I do it a little differently. What we do is we get the retainer up front, and again, it can vary, just like Christy was mentioning. It also depends on the matter. It could be anywhere from a $1,000 retainer to like a $3,500 retainer for my firm. And then we hold that in our trust account, and we don't touch it. We don't take any money out of it. We treat it sort of like a tenant paying a security deposit to the landlord, and you get the security deposit back at the end. So that's what we do. We give you the retainer back at the end, and whatever we're working on, we send you a bill at the end of the month. And let's say the bill is $1,200. You'd be expected to pay the $1,200 that month. And every month that the case goes on, we send you a bill showing the work done and how much is owed. And the retainer that you paid just stays on the side, and you get it back at the end. And we don't charge anything to meet with you at the first consultation. That's always free.
Okay, I guess that leaves me. So my firm is quite a bit different than the other two for now. How we operate is most things for a startup business. So if your business is between 1 and 3 years old and you are coming to me for contract drafting, or you want to just sit in my office and talk about things that maybe are legally relevant things, or just things about your business, like how can I keep my overhead low, things like that. I operate off of a flat fee. So for each thing that you might need from me, I will offer you a flat fee. And so what that does is it lets me spend as much time with you as I need to. So for example, if I'm setting up your LLC, I'm drafting your operating agreement and some customer client agreements or something like that. If you're just getting started and you're being set up, you're going to talk to me about your business, the kind of money you have the capacity of making from the get-go, the kind of money that you have access to from the get-go, and I'm going to come up with a flat fee of like maybe $1,500 to get you up and going. Now, during that time when you're getting up and going, if you have some quick questions for me and you need to call and we're on the phone for 10 or 15 minutes, I'm not going to bill you for that. That's what you paid for, to help you get up and going. After you're up and running and you've been going and things are going great for you and you start having some more complicated matters, let's say you have an employee that you would like to, have some confidentiality agreement or something that you would like this employee to do. If you have a more complicated matter, I'm still likely going to offer you a flat fee so that you and I can just communicate as we need to get the work done. But there are times when you get very complicated matters or things change in your circumstances that we have to go to the retainer fee, and then it operates much like Christie's law firm does. But for brand new startup businesses, we're all trying to get going, and I want you to be successful so that you keep coming to me and that you send other people to me. So I'm going to give you some leeway because I know what it's like to start out and be fresh and not know the answers. And sometimes I don't know the answer and I need to spend a little bit of time looking into it or seeing, consulting with a more experienced attorney a lot. We all need mentors, and I like my law firm to be sort of like a mentorship opportunity too.
Yes, ma'am.
When you say the retainer fee, I'm sorry. My name is Siobhan Peterson. I have our company is Peterson Family Care. We do home health agency, and we also do transportation. So you may see some of the buses around that says PFC Transportation. That's us. My question is for the retainer fee. If that retainer is not used, let's say in a year, does it roll over to the next year? And do you collect a retainer every year? How does that work?
So each of us probably do it a little bit different, but the way that my firm does it is that retainer is there until either you or I end the relationship.
Okay.
So like, let's say that you pay me a retainer and, there's still money there. I'm gonna keep that retainer until infinity, unless, I say, okay, well, I've had this retainer for 3 years, you haven't needed anything, so I can terminate the relationship in writing pursuant to my contract, or you reach out to me and say, this money is not being used, I don't wanna use you anymore. So that's how we do it.
Okay.
Right, the retainer just stays there. It's never increased, at least not at my firm.
Oh, okay.
I think the difference between us is that she will draw from the retainer, and when it goes down to zero, then you have to pay
Then you have
more.
to- Okay.
For me, I just send you an invoice every month. It works about the same. I just send you an invoice every month, and you pay the invoice, and the retainer's just on the side.
Okay.
That's how it works.
Thank you.
And by the way, the reason why certain matters are flat fee is because Carlina knows how long it's going to take her roughly. Litigation, we don't know what the crazy person is doing on the other side, right? It could end in 2 weeks if there's a settlement. It could go on for over a year. So it would be unfair to everybody to charge a flat fee. So that's why we do it by the hour.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Hi, Chris Tompkins here, and I have an e-commerce business and a consulting business. But my question is regarding the retainer that you hold, you don't deduct from. What do you do with it, and when does that retainer either be returned, is interest applied, like what is really its purpose?
Oh, that's in case you don't pay your bill. Just like a landlord holding a security deposit. It's the same idea. Well, pretty much everybody pays their invoice every month. And then when we're all done with the case, I write a check to you and you get it back.
Thank you.
That's what happens. So, and I think Christie does the same thing.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, hi, Anita Burrows, and I am in a new business. It's going to be consulting, service, and products. And I'm very, very new. But when should I consider turning my business into an LLC? Is there a certain time period? Is it because of what I'm selling? Is it a service that I'm providing that would make me want to have an LLC?
So I will personally one first. Everyone, like the answer to 99% of the questions you ask a lawyer will be, it depends. But in my opinion, at the moment that you are calling yourself a business, you should be talking to someone about what type of business you should have, whether it should be an LLC or corporation or, so at the point that, for me, at the point that you're saying, this is my business, I think you should be having a conversation with someone or at least doing some research on your own.
Right. I'm not sure if they do LLCs, but I really don't. I don't form them for people or anything. I usually tell people that they should actually see an accountant about what is the best type of business to form. But I definitely agree that you need to form it at the very beginning. Because if you start doing business under your own name, or let's say you just decide to start calling yourself something without incorporating, then what you're doing is you're still operating as yourself. Like if you, I don't know, if you start saying, okay, my business is going to be called the Pink Flamingo, if you didn't incorporate that company or register that name with the Florida Secretary of State, it's still just you. And so if you get into a situation where somebody is going to sue the business for money, they're going to sue you. And they can go after your assets, your personal assets, your bank account, everything. So that's why you should start a business with a corporation, either an LLC or an Inc. or something like that. And there are attorneys who do give you advice on what type, but you can also ask a good accountant for that as well.
I think the only thing I would add to that, I mean, both I agree fully, is that if you are the Pink Flamingo and somebody else is also the Pink Flamingo, you can open yourself up to liability. And so to get off to the very best start, you want to make sure that you are not, number one, encroaching on somebody else's Pink Flamingo name. But number two, if you have a really cool name like the Pink Flamingo, you protect it from somebody else using your name too. And so there are lots of different options for choosing a business entity, and it has to do with protecting yourself as a person from personal liability, but also helping with, tax, what's due for taxes. So an accountant is an excellent place to start too.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, good afternoon. I have a question. So my name is Shirley David.
Where you,
I was getting there.
where you started right in your, where you sound like Chris. Go ahead.
My name is Shirley Davis, and I own the public relations firm called Roses from Concrete. And what I've noticed with I'm doing my contracts, I have like a bunch of them. Is there a way to just have one general contract instead of me talking about the service, but I'm actually staffing it? Because, for instance, I do photography, videography, I do concierge services, I do infomercials, I work on-site and off-site. What I've noticed with everything I do, I have so many different contracts, and I'm having a hard time trying to keep up with all of them.
Well, this is where Christy says it depends. Because your contract, really, the answer to that question depends on whether what you put in a contract for one thing is going to say something different in another. So I have different retainers. I have like 10 different retainers. So, I just have them out. I call them different things, and you could just print out what you need, based on if you think, it sounds like the reason you have it is because you want different things in different contracts. So I don't think there's a way to just have one. It's better to be more specific. At least that's my opinion. I don't know.
And I think it depends, because it depends on whether any of the provisions are the same or what's different. So you really should consider talking to an attorney and actually showing them, this is what I have and this is why I have it this way. And then that way the attorney could determine whether you can consolidate it or whether you should keep it separate. But for any contracts that you're using for your business, there are so many purposes for that contract, but primarily to make sure you're getting paid and make sure that you're reducing your liability. So it sounds like you probably just wanna have an attorney look at your contracts to make sure that your interests are being protected no matter what, whether you keep it the same or separate.
Agreed. Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yes, sir.
So if you have liability insurance, general insurance, product liability, things like that, and you get sued, who steps in? The insurance company, you, like how's that work?
The very first thing you should do is if you think it's covered, you notify your insurance company. They're usually very good at telling you pretty right away whether they're gonna cover it or not. And if they are, they usually will get an attorney for you. Or they'll step in and maybe make a settlement. But if they say no, no coverage, that's when you should seek an attorney. Yeah.
And that's a really great question, and it brings up a good point for everybody in the room, which is that if you're running a business, you need to talk to an insurance agent to make sure that you tell them, this is the type of business that I'm running, what type of insurance do I need? Because I get a lot of people like that don't have insurance, and that is a very scary place to be. I actually represented a business, a very large, well-known business that has a lot of customers, and they were contacting me because they didn't have insurance. Somebody got hurt on their premises, they didn't have insurance, and they ended up paying a lot of money just because they didn't have insurance. And if they would have had an insurance policy, it's likely that their insurance would have gotten them an attorney and they would have saved a lot of money. So if you're running a business, you do want to contact an insurance agent.
So piggybacking off of that, like say if you're private labeling, white labeling, and the manufacturer, 9 times out of 10 should have insurance, right? How does that extend out into a reseller, or the, you know what I'm saying? And like, is there, I know that gets, call the insurance company and everything like that, but like, it gets kind of murky, it seems to me, and like, they got deeper pockets sometimes, so.
So he's saying like, if you're manufacturing a product and maybe you're just a reseller, well, the manufacturer should have insurance. So some businesses might think, well, I don't need insurance. But in my opinion, you probably do. Because if they name your business individually, then it's likely that the manufacturer will likely say, well, you're not covered under our policy. Because you have to think about it. We pay insurance, we're good people. We pay, monthly or however often we need to pay it. But what do insurance companies do? They look for reasons not to pay. And one easy out is to say, oh, well, this other business is named and they're not an additional insured on our policy. We're not paying for that business. They have to represent themselves. So my recommendation is that with your businesses, like Mr. Ford has said, that you have your attorney, you have a CPA, you have someone with your banking, but that you also have someone as insurance for an insurance agent. And it's super cheap to get business insurance. You would be shocked. Like, I think my first business insurance policy was like $35 a month or something, like ridiculously low. So it's something that you can afford, and it will save you a lot if something happens.
Thank you. And by the way, this goes back to my suggestion that you go visit a BNI group, because in my BNI group is an accountant, an insurance guy, just a lot of people that you get to grow and trust them and grow with them, and it's just a valuable resource. If any of you want to come to my BNI group as a visitor, just give me a call. You're welcome to come. It's absolutely free. If for whatever reason, let's say we already have someone in the group that does what you do, we can refer you to another BNI group, a different one. Or if you just need a contact, let's say you don't know an accountant, and you want to get an accountant or a banker or an insurance guy, you could give me a call and I can put you in touch with them.
Joy, you had your hand up.
Thank you
Oh, she got
for giving me space.
I know you're alone. You get the back of the
No. I'll only ask one. Pleasant good day to all in your respectful places. My name is Joanne Thomas Joseph. I run 3 companies in a tier. However, they all fall in place. We provide we are a business service consultant for Department of Transportation and SBA, and we also do fingerprinting, level 2 background screening. Question 1, and I'll only ask one and I'll ask the other one later. I already have a legal firm on retainer. They're out of state, they're out of county kind of state, and I'm looking for a local or regional or circuit-wide attorney, a firm for issues. Now, I am usually the one doing the litigations or suing or however you want to call it, because for lack of collections, lemon law, and breach of contracts. Please tell me, why will I consider a local retainer, it's one of yourselves, in comparison to the law firm that I already have? Question 1, and I'll ask the other one later.
Well, is the law firm in another state or just another county? Is it a Florida law firm or a firm that's licensed in Florida?
Sorry about that. It is a Florida law firm partially, but they also have in other locations. But I'm looking to more participate in local activities, because most of my clients will be local. Well, when I say local, meaning within the circuit 20, they call your Charlotte, Hendry and Lee. So I'm looking for more on-hand attorney.
Yeah, and as you've probably figured out by what you do, that every circuit, every locality has different a practice culture, I would say. And so if you have a local attorney that's used to going to court in Lee County or used to going to court in Collier or Charlotte County, they're going to potentially give you a better result in outcome because they know what to say, they know what the local judges like to hear, and I know that the law is fair and balanced, but in reality, you have to get to know the culture of where you're practicing at. And so that's why. Now, any attorney or a big law firm, if you have business where they are, it's worth having them retained there. But if your business is mostly here, then absolutely you should pick someone that's local.
Perfect. And are you all statewide, or you just happen to operate within the regions?
Oh, my practice for the probate estate, so when someone passes away, that's a statewide service. I can do those anywhere. But for small businesses, I stick to kind of a 3-county area.
Second one.
So for me, I think that it's important that you have an attorney that matches your personality. I'm not the best attorney for everybody because I'm not gonna be the person like yelling or, like I can't run with like the Miami lawyers, like my personality is my personality and there's strengths to that. I think I'm very outspoken about who I am, and like if you visit my website, you're gonna know this is who she is, this is what you're gonna get. And if that matches you, then you might wanna consider someone like me, but if it doesn't, it's okay. But I think that's very, very important because, you just want to deal with somebody that is, has similar personality as you. I agree with her that, like, I practice here in the 20th Circuit, and I know the judges. The judges are going to be impartial, but I know that certain judges want things a certain type of way. And I think it's also important that you look at Google reviews, do your background on the different lawyers that you're working with, know exactly what you're getting into, because you want to choose your advocate. If that makes sense.
I don't know if
Total
you,
sense.
I don't know if you've heard the joke, a good attorney knows the law, a great attorney knows the judge. So.
Exactly what I'm looking for.
I was wondering if anybody won't get to the meat, because I'm listening to them. But let me tell you all, I'm going to tell all of you that. Everybody, you need to understand something. Everything works the same. Just like you as an individual. You know somebody, they come to you, you're going to treat them a lot better than somebody that you don't know. Am I correct? The same thing with the judge. You go in his courtroom, he know her, but he don't know her. They could be saying exactly the same thing, and he gonna hear her better than she hearing her.
And there's also procedures, like they were mentioning, like some judges like things marked into evidence beforehand or courtesy copies of papers. You don't want an attorney appearing in court talking about their papers, and the judge says, where is it? You didn't send it to me. So, you know, anything like that could come into play.
I used to work for the state juvenile justice system in Collier County in the 70s. There was a judge, if you walked in his courtroom without a tie on, you lost your case. I don't care what you present. He didn't want nobody in his courtroom that was representing anything if he didn't have a title. And trust me, many attorneys that didn't know the judge walked right up in there. They had the suit coat and the pants, collar open. I hate ties, but I knew if I had to go in there with some folks that day to see him, I had to put on the tie. It could be a clip-on. He didn't care. He wanted to see a tie. But those little things are important to you when you got your lawyer and you going in there presenting your case. And another thing, one of them said earlier, I was going to comment on. I got sued by somebody for nothing. It cost me $45,000 to prove it was nothing. I won the case. We knew we were going to win before we had the first day of court. But I still had to go through it because the man filed a little suit. It cost me $45,000 to prove that I ain't owe him nothing. So you think it's a game? When you ask these people to give you, they ask you, so well, give me $1,500, $2,000. You better find it. Because the day come, you may go, just like I said, I've been in business since, here in Fort Myers since 89. No, 86. You right? I didn't need a lawyer until 98, 99. It still cost me $45,000. But just imagine if I didn't already have a relationship with my lawyer. Just imagine what it would have been if I didn't already know him and his partners before I needed it. We're trying to help you here. Trying to forewarn you before you get out there. You're in transportation?
Yes.
You ain't even got to hit nobody. Let them hit you.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? You know, you do event planning, coordination. You do all that. You at a party, somebody get drunk, decide to go hit somebody upside the head with a bottle. I'm just saying. Or just hit them. Who they suing? Not only the person that hit them. These lawyers asking. Everybody connected going on the wall. You and everybody else, you had nothing to do with it, but you still going to court, and you got to defend yourself out of your power. Yes, ma'am.
So when you, oh, my name is Mary Wright. I have a business called The Right Team. It's an administrative and human resources support company for small businesses. My question is, when you say establish a relationship, I mean, exactly what does that mean if you're not in immediate need of legal assistance?
What it actually mean is, Ms. Hall, my name is Lee Ford. How you doing? I'm starting a business and I know I'm gonna need a lawyer for my business. Can I come talk to you?
Absolutely. My particular firm, I just want you to call me even if you have a quick question. It's okay. I might get too busy sometime in my practice where I can't take those calls anymore and a paralegal or somebody else is gonna answer first. But for now, where I'm at right now, if you have a quick question, just give me a call. I mean, it really, I mean it.
And that don't even matter. You know why? When that other person answers the phone and you call, because you already have a relationship with her, they go and say, oh, Miss So-and-so called. She said, oh, yes, make sure you take care of her. You never want to go upstairs and nothing. You always want to go downstairs. Do you understand my analogy? Do you understand what I'm saying with that? Huh? If I right now want anything done in the city of Fort Myers, if I really want it done, I'm calling the mayor first. Then the mayor can tell me, go see Steve and build community development, or go see the city manager. You know why? Because when I walk in, the mayor said to see you. What does that mean? They're going to listen. And they're going to do whatever they can to get it done. I'm We're gonna have the insurance agents here too. We already talked to them. They're gonna be lining up to come here and do the same thing that these folks here doing with legal. We got the whatever else, the CPAs, the accountants, we got the bankers. Matter of fact, the bankers are gonna be next month. They're coming here to engage with you so you can do what I'm asking you to try to do for yourself. Develop relationship, not acquaintance. Just because you go in your bank every day and you know the lady sitting at the desk and she know you from recognizing you, that's not a relationship. That's an acquaintance. You want them, when they see you, they know your business, they know you got one kid in college and one over in the military in Europe somewhere, and you got about 5 dogs and 3 cats, all that. But you also know that about them. See, when you call, there's a reaction to advocate. They're now advocating for you. They're not just lawyering for you. Those are the words and languages you need to understand. You're not going to be, because I see you and I know you, you're acquaintances. Most of you I know a little bit more about because of the conversations we've had. So I know a little bit better, so I would talk to them a little different. I might call Christy and say, hey, Chris, you gotta wait, be patient with him. That right there. You gotta be patient. But he all right guy, he really means with you. You know what I'm saying? But that whole thing changes because of our relationship, she's gonna receive you better.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I had to do it. Then she would just being an acquaintance or just knowing. Like T-Rock back there, I've been doing that joke for 100 years. No, I ain't gonna do that. But I've been doing it for a very long time. There's imps and imps, both of them. But we have a relationship. I advocate for him knowing what I'm advocating for. And you're the same. Think about people you know and you don't know. What do you do for people who call you that you know? How far are you willing to go for them? Because you know them, you know how far you're willing to go for them. Okay? This is important for you. Anybody else got a question? Yes, ma'am.
Hello, my name is Tony Hall.
Now, nearly everybody in this room is a client. The first thing we're going to do, you're a business person, right? Everybody, y'all don't know?
Yes.
Remember, I'm a preacher, too. You're a business person, right?
Yes.
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 See, you don't understand, just that right there ought to make every one of y'all line up for my office for a consultation. Whenever you walk into a room, you are a business owner, which are the pillars of this community. You walk and talk and act like that.
Yep.
Wrong, right, or indifferent. When you're in the room, you change the climate.
Amen.
When you're in the room, you somebody. You understand? When you go to speak, you speak. Like, even if you're wrong. Listen, I know that.
Thank you.
That's what their job is. Their job is to make it right for you. You just do it. So when you speak with authority and confidence. Even if you don't have it. Fake it. But they say it is fake it till you make it. So when you go to speak, you speak loudly, clearly, and affirmly. You got a question? Ask a question. Don't worry about it if it's stupid. Who cares? You somebody here and you need to act like you somebody. I don't care where you go.
Thank you, sir.
Talk like it, speak like it, act like it.
All right.
Okay? Now, I didn't mean to put you out there like that. Yes,
I'm trying to figure out what I do.
Let me just make it simple. Let me break it down. Whenever you come up, you see that one right there? Look at her leaving now. She goes, no, she gets some water. But that right there, I don't care where I see Sharika. Sharika got an image and a procession. I mean, she is out there. You know she's somebody. Now, who she is, you might not know. But she walked with confidence and assurance in herself. You need to do the same thing. Our babies are looking at you.
Yes.
Our babies are inspired by what they see, not what we tell them.
Yes.
Am I right?
Yes.
If you in business and you don't look or walk or act like you in business, you think they gonna want? Uh-uh. They wanna see you stand up tall in your place and walk in there like you somebody, and you are somebody.
Yep, amen.
You understand? I don't care where you come from. Even if you did have a big family in Charlotte, single mom, you have to project that in your image. And trust me, people will receive you as that. And they'll be more attentive to you at that. Or they'll be shy. You broke the shyness line when you said you gonna open up a business.
That's right.
Because first thing you sell, other than that transportation, other than that products, is you. People aren't buying your products. They're not buying your ride. They're buying you. Don't ever forget that either. Okay? Amen. So when y'all see me and I see you in public, and you walk around public like this, and if you see me stand up there like this, now listen, I'm telling y'all now, I ain't gonna bother you if you're in a client of mine, because I don't have that right. But if you're a client of mine, I'm about to stand right there in the middle of the public and say, who the heck you supposed to be today? For everybody in the store to hear me, say, what that man saying to her? What that man saying to him? I will put you on blast. You hear me? I know you saying, what did I do?
No, you
baby.
know, it's funny because I worked in law enforcement for 30 years and I have to calm that down.
Well, don't calm it down now.
If you see me talking low, it's because I'm trying not to intimidate people.
Don't worry about
I hear
it.
that all the
Your
time.
baby girl
I
is
come
telling you
into
right
a
now,
room
put
and
your,
people be like, I get scared when you come in the room.
No,
And I'm
honey.
not trying to project that kind
You know
of
what?
image.
Now that's another, don't ever let that bother you.
Well, it doesn't bother me, but I don't, you know, I like relationships, so I want people to be at ease, and I don't want to feel
Well, you don't
intimidated.
graduate. You don't graduate.
Well, you know.
That's another thing. Since we're on this subject. If people in your circle can't handle you being you, trying to go where you trying to go, well, you need to cut that circle gate, put a gate in there, open it up, let them walk right over there.
Yep, thank you. Yes.
You understand? And that's hard for some of us to do with people we've been knowing, all of them. You growed up with them as kids, you went to school, they're your classmates, you know how y'all.
They're your relatives.
They're my classmates, all that kind of stuff. But I'm telling you, don't ever do that. Because they're not trying to go where you're trying to go.
True.
And they're holding you. But you put that badge back on now. You ain't worried about intimidating nobody, you're affirming yourself to everyone.
I don't think you can intimidate this panel.
I didn't mean to get off on that thing, but when I hear certain things or see certain things, I respond to it in the natural, because that's how we have to understand our realities. You're going to be only as successful as you project yourself to be and believe and walk in what you ought to be.
Confirmation.
Just remember that.
So tell us about your business. I'm excited. It's all about you, and I have to know what it is now.
Well, I have a couple of things happening right now. The first question I wanted to ask you is about, I'm in the process of developing what I consider affordable housing for persons with disability. Siobhan and I, we work with an agency where daily we get emails about individuals needing housing. So I had the opportunity to purchase a property where I can make that happen. So that being said, right now I'm just in the civil survey process. And I need to talk to you later about that. Should I have insurance at this point on that property?
So I was a landlord for many years. I previously owned apartment complexes. My family owns agricultural property that they rent to other farmers. But I have rented and been a landlord of many rental properties, and we still have some. And thank you very much, because what you're doing is desperately needed in this community. So, I mean, it takes a very good and special kind of person to go forward with that, because being a landlord is very hard work. And there are a lot of risks involved with it, and the first call you should make when you leave here is to an insurance provider. You should 100% get all of the different kinds of insurance that you need, premises liability, an umbrella policy, talk to the insurance people and they will tell you what you need. But 100% immediately get insurance.
Cause the property hasn't been developed yet, it's just.
Yeah, it's just land, but you need liability insurance. I worked for a large law firm that did a lot of third-party liability and other liability type claims for people who walked onto a piece of undeveloped land and, tripped on a wire and stepped on a piece of glass. Anything can happen. Yeah, definitely get insurance. And if you need help getting that going, on a volunteer basis, if you have any questions, please call me because I think it's desperate. Yeah.
The second question I have is with regard to something Chris said, because like I said, after I retired, ADHD just went off. So I have a spa also, and I'm interested in private label products. And that was a valid thing that I never thought about. So if I develop product from a manufacturer that I'm currently talking to, and say if Siobhan got my vitamin C and she got a rash and decided she wanted to sue me, who gets sued, me or the cosmetic company?
Both.
Probably both. You have to think about it. If somebody calls my office and they say, hey, I use this product, I got the rash, I'm asking them, who was involved? Who did you buy it from? Who was the manufacturer on the bottle? We're suing everybody. We're suing everybody, including the sales rep, if need be. I mean, seriously, we're naming as many people as we can. And that's why I was telling him, go and make sure you have your insurance, because if they name you, you might not have had anything to do with it. But because your name is on that lawsuit, you have to defend yourself, and that costs money.
Because I do have, as an esthetician, I do so many different services as a permanent makeup artist. I do radio frequency facials. I do a lot of advanced skincare, and I am insured. However, I haven't thought about insurance as it relates to a private skincare line. So would that fall under well, maybe I should contact that insurance company about that. But that was so important, I don't even know why I didn't never think about that.
That's not the point. Don't feel bad about that. That's why we're here.
The third point is, because I have 3 separate businesses going, and how would I go about finding like a business manager who can help me manage day-to-day operations, because I don't have the time, because if I'm I'm not interested in running all of my businesses. Eventually, I want to let things go and let them be on autopilot by like training or something to that effect. But at this point, I need to be involved hands-on. I've tried to get advice from people. There's a lot of frauds out there that's giving fraudulent advice, trying to make money, and I need somebody who is going to be hands-on, who is going to step in and do those things and advocate for me. How do I find that type of person with integrity?
When you figure it out, please let me know. I have been for a part-time worker for like months.
That is what we call baptism. How many of y'all been around long enough to remember that, heard that term before? Whenever you do business venture or anything, you go through what we call baptism. That means you go through the trial. You know, out there at the airport, there's I have 5 businesses that I'm associated with. I'm the leader of all of them. And you see me here with you today. You know, it didn't start out that way, but that's how it is today. You got to go through folks. You're going to go through them. And you don't take nobody there because you feel sorry for them. But that ain't going to help you. You just got to go through a trial and error. And I'm going to tell you something. You're 100% right. You're at that stage you need to do that, because there is no way you're going to do what you're doing now continuously with you yourself doing all of It will not work. Your body won't handle it. It will tell you on its own one day. Say, baby girl, I'm through. If you think you can go without me, you go right ahead. Because that's going to happen. You get burnt out. You can't do it. And I tell everybody that met with me that there's going to come a day when you're going to have to turn loose the reins in your business. Because if you don't, you're going to smother it.
Right. And you're gonna get burned out, like you said. One thing I would add is like, you have to look at your business like what you want it to be. So even if you're a small business currently, but you have to look at it like it's a big business because you know that's where you're going. And what would a big business do? They would post that job on Indeed, right? And then they would get all the resumes and they would find the right candidate. And so that would be my advice to you, would be post that job on Indeed, you know, figure out whatever the job description is gonna be, interview people, find the right candidate, and if it's not the right person, let them go and try it again. And you just have to do that until you find the right person. So that's how I would handle it.
That, I did that, and it didn't work out. Basically, you know, I don't wanna find myself spending a whole bunch of money on, you know, because there's local people you can talk to, there's people you can interview. I've done it all, but the bottom line, it came down to, I hired a virtual assistant to handle like social media for my spa. She's doing amazing, and it cost me nothing, not a lot. It's within my budget. But when it comes to the development business, that's a different situation. So there is where, you know, I need someone who's gonna advocate for me on different levels. For instance, just speaking with speaking with lawyers on my behalf when I'm doing something else. You know, I don't wanna have to do everything. So, but my virtual assistant, she can't do it.
Where's he or she, because I need them too.
I told you already.
No, not the virtual, I need a real body.
Oh, well.
It sounds
I
like,
went on Indeed, and Indeed costs like $100 a month to.
Yeah. Well, I like, oh,
it sounds like you need one of two things. You either need an office manager or a business coach. Those are two different things. The
A
office,
business coach sounds better for me.
okay. The office manager will help you run operations. The business coach looks at your operation and gives you outlooks as to what you can do better here or there or whatever. And you could try Indeed, or, I hate to harp on this again, I do not get any money from them. BNI. BNI vets people. You cannot join BNI unless you go through a vetting process where a whole membership committee interviews people, references. You can come as a visitor a couple times, but if you want to join our group, we actually send you through the ringer to make sure you're somebody that we can trust. And we used to have a business coach in our BNI group. He left, he retired. But there are other BNI groups that might have that. So it's not a big deal. You can Google BNI or Business Networking International, and they have a list of, they should have a list of members and what they do. Or just give me a call and I can help you with that. Okay.
I wanted to add something as far as people, to get somebody to help you. I'm sorry, some people might think this is funny. AI, it's very big, artificial intelligence. You actually can get a person that looks like a human to work for you. I don't know what the cost is, but I mean, it's the new wave of the future. You know, I mean, you're cutting costs where you're gonna program somebody to do exactly what you need them to do. They will be there when you want them to be there. Hey, it's not impossible to look into AI, artificial intelligence. It's being used in China. They actually got people running the hotels and stuff there with, you know, these robots they have created. Robots are being created right now in the labs by the millions.
Two quick questions, please. One, would it cost, what would be the average, wrong question. Working on 3 companies, would I need to have a separate retainer for each company based on the EIN? or could I get one retainer for all three companies?
For me, it.
Anyone?
See,
You
I could've
especially.
told you that.
Because, like, I do have people, like, I have one gentleman, he owns several different businesses, and we have an ongoing retainer. I do work for all of his different businesses. But it just depends on what your different business needs are. If you have, every business needs something completely different, right now, I'm gonna have separate retainers. If it's just, I don't really need anything right now, but as things come up, then we might be able to do it together, but it just depends.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Everything is situational, it depends.
Now, remember,
Okay.
these lawyers,
And
they ain't making no commitments publicly
No,
like that.
not even, as general. And secondly, one of my companies bought a RV to operate statewide. However, that vehicle is a lemon. Do any of you handle the lemon law? It's the state recognizes it as a lemon, the company recognizes it as a lemon, they taking it back, but I still want more. How would any of you all handle lemon law?
So I do not personally handle that, but I'm gonna tell you the way that I operate. I stay in my lane. If I know how to do something and I feel confident that I know how to do it, I'm gonna tell you, look, this is what we're gonna do. But if it's anything like that that's a specialty, like I actually know a lawyer in Florida that she doesn't do anything but lemon law. So I'm gonna call, I'll tell you, I'll say, look, I recommend that you call so-and-so for this matter, and I'll give you a referral for whoever it might be whenever it's something outside of our practice area. And you want a lawyer that you can trust that will do that, not someone that says, oh, I can do everything for you, and then gets you a bad result. So.
Exactly what I need.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a whole referral list of attorneys and what they do, so if we don't do it, we could give you a name and number most of the time.
Me too. And I keep track of, I check back in with people and say, how did that person work out for you? And if it didn't work out and it keeps coming back to me that it's not working out, I don't refer people to that person anymore. So I kind of keep track of, the quality of the referral too.
But Christy, you know an expert.
Yes.
And that's a good thing,
Yes.
because my administrative assistant is a Christy too, so. Maybe you two will work perfect together, so just in case. Please give me that referral
All
for the
right.
expert.
Yep, I'll have to look it up, but
Thank
yeah, I'll
you.
definitely give it to you.
Uh-oh, yes, sir.
Well, I just, she's not here right now, but my experience from Googling for insurance coverage, and there are industries that are more at risk. Cosmetics is high risk, and so cost is going to be higher as a result. And, and then you have your umbrella policies and everything else. I was just wanted to relay that because I'm in search of product liability insurance. I'm looking forward to joining or coming as a guest at B&I because I do need to connect with an agent as soon as possible. And amongst other things I need to do, I need to incorporate, and I have an accountant, so I will make that call. I appreciate you putting that out there.
Sure.
I actually love the fact that all of y'all are answering questions the way you are, and really appreciate it.
Y'all right on the borderline with these questions now, because I'm standing up here too. Some of these need to be one-on-one questions. And you'll get probably a much more liberal response from these young folks up here with that kind of conversation, more so than a general public one. You understand what I'm saying? So, but so far, ain't nobody, I think that one right there is about the shade of thin.
I'm very subtle.
That Joey, no, I'm talking about Joey.
ain't talking about me.
I'm talking about Joey.
Okay, right.
Not me.
That's right on the edge
Which
of the
Joanne?
razor cut. But that's okay, that's okay. They was willing to give it a whirl, but I noticed, the first thing they said was, it depends.
I'll let you do.
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to put it out there for everybody. I did check into career resources a while ago, and you can advertise if you need someone to come work for you, and it's free. Yeah, it's free, and they'll weed them out for you before the applications reach you. So they'll weed it out for you. You can also use their rooms to do the interviews. So that just
And
wanted to.
they're here at the Enterprise Center when? They're here a couple of days a week or something like that? Or once a week?
Once a week.
Career Sources right here in the Enterprise Center once a week. And they got money. They'll help you pay a person for so many weeks.
Yes.
I mean, you have resources at your availability if you just ask somebody. Uh-oh, there go a bunch of hands I'm with. Let's start with you and then you or your name, you raised your a few minutes ago too, didn't you? Oh, I'm sorry, babe. Go ahead.
Hello, my name is Courtney Seilert. So my business is Go to Bicy Fitness, so I offer fitness and health services. So I'm just curious, has there ever been a point where you do not accept a client, and if so, what do you say, and then what do you look at as far as whether you accept or deny a client?
Are you talking about for your business, like if you have someone that seeks you out?
No, for your.
Oh, for ours?
Yes.
I will talk to anyone that knows me well knows. I will talk to anyone. It drives my children crazy, my husband crazy. I will talk to anyone at length also. And so what makes or breaks a client for me is, number one, is the client trying to do what's right for their, are they, I guess, a good person? Are they trying to be a good, valuable member of our society? And if they can't necessarily afford what they need from me right away, I like to work with them in that way too. But the worst client is the one that calls you and makes unreasonable demands. They've paid you a flat fee for a specific service, and then they're going far beyond what they've actually paid you to do. So that's sort of where I would terminate a client relationship. It's just if they fail to be a decent human.
So for me, whenever you call my law firm, first and foremost, you have to say that you need help with something that we actually do. Because if you need help with something that we don't handle, immediately my staff is going to give you one of our referrals. We also charge a consultation fee. So unlike, I think, both of these attorneys, whenever you call my office is going to quote you. They'll say, look, we'll set you up to talk to Attorney Scott, but it's going to cost X amount of dollars. And so some people don't want to pay that consultation fee. Whenever we do have the consultation, if you pay the consultation fee, we have the consultation, you're interviewing me, but I'm also interviewing you. And I'm looking for clients that they have something I can actually assist them with. Our personalities seem like they work pretty well together, because some clients are they just have a completely different personality. So they call me and they're cursing and they're yelling, and it's not gonna work. I'm looking for a happy experience for my firm, and I'm also looking for people that I can actually help. In the event that it's, for some reason, I don't think it's gonna match, like maybe you're making demands that I don't agree with or something like that, then I try to be as honest as I can, but it just depends on the situation. But typically I would either refer you to someone else, or I will let you know that I don't think it's a good case or whatever because of blah, blah, blah reasons. So it just depends a little.
Well, again, if we don't do the type of law that you need, we'll refer you out to someone. But other than that, I'll usually consult with someone, and I'll listen to their case, and if, like, let's say it's over a $3,000 dispute, right? Then I will explain to the client, look, you can hire us to represent you in this, but don't. It's not worth it for you to hire us. It's gonna cost you probably more than $3,000 by the time you're done. And you will end up getting mad at me because I should have told you that at the beginning, and that's why I always tell clients the good and bad about their cases at the beginning. Just like that mobile home person, she wanted to hire me, but I kind of talked her out of it. I said, look, you're going to spend a lot of money on attorney's fees, and I don't think you're going to win, and here's why. And I'm sure she hired another attorney to take her case, but that's, as far as personalities, I don't really care. I'm from New York. I'll handle anybody.
Young lady?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Shona Matthews. I am a professional
professional data services. We provide consulting and administrative services to med waiver providers, such as group homes and people who take care of individuals with intellectual disabilities. And I've had the business for a while, and I'm getting ready to move forward in a new, kind of expanding the business. And I wanted to know, do any of you do anything with mergers and acquisitions? Because that's what I'm going to need.
I do not, no.
Okay. You shake your head.
Yeah, we
Okay.
do. We do.
Okay. So hopefully we can talk before the end.
Well, that's what I'm trying to get to, because you guys are so good at asking questions. I am excited, I like that part. But this is what I'm going to do now, unless somebody else got a burning question. Well, what? Yes?
Hello everybody, my name is Rose Walker. My company is Alumna's Umbrella. We are an intuitive life and business strategy company. And I had two questions. Well, I had a statement first. For those you two right here that were interested in the product, I'm connected with my business, one of my coaches, and she's a multimillionaire in that area, so I can give her connection. I'll see her this weekend to give y'all that. Second, based off of all of your experience and things like that, and many people in here are, you know, either new in their businesses within 1 to 3 years. What, as we're leaving and wrapping up, what is one thing of advice you would give everybody in the room?
My advice is keep your costs down, keep your overhead low, make your business successful by not overspending. Like, it sounds sort of cheap and maybe not that graceful, but truly, if you can keep your costs low while you're getting started, the reward will come back to you in the end. And it's kind of secondary advice, but just be yourself and use your personality to build your business in the way that's best for you. Because it can be different for everyone.
So for me, I would say get a business coach or a mentor. And if you can't afford a business coach, then find someone who has written a book or has a podcast or someone like that that you can listen to, that you can use as your mentor until you can afford a personal business coach. From day one, actually 6 months before I ever started my business, I had a business coach. And that saved me a ton of money and a ton of time, because I was able to learn from someone else's experiences instead of having to learn the hard way through my own experiences. So always use business coaches and mentors.
Well, most people sign things without reading them. Read without signing them. Read without signing them, okay? Especially if it's something significant. And if you think that there's something funny going on, trust your intuition. Call an attorney instead to look at the contract and give you advice on it before you do it. And that could be with regard to anything in your business. Thanks.
Now, that's lawyers talking. And one of them said what I thought one of them did. Get you a lawyer that you have a relationship with. Y'all already got free coaching until the end of 2023, and that's me in my office. That's what we do. That's why they're here. That's why you're here. You don't need another coach. The only thing I will refer to you is somebody that's doing what you're doing, maybe. And I believe in that wholeheartedly. Because we're going to have, just in case you know, I didn't think about BI, but I think I might want to invite them. We're already organizing one for all the chambers of commerce in this community. Other networks, business network organizations, we're going to bring them right here just like these lawyers. You're going to get to sit right there and ask questions and get to know them too. Because I'm trying to get you connected. It took me years to get the mindset that I need to do all this. I'm sharing with you now that saved you a whole bunch of time in interview and money. And even when you have all that, you still gonna have to go through something. Like I told you, I was sued. It cost me over $45,000 to pay attorney fees to fight a case that I knew, and the lawyer and everybody knew I was gonna win it. But you have to defend yourself as a person. You gotta do it. And that costs money. It's a tip for you. If you're in business, you're out there, baby girl. And none of them told you, get a lawyer. But they talking to you as a friend. They're assuming they already got you. So they're telling you their next level advice. Do these things. Keep your costs down. You know, and my business is 23%. If cost is over that, somebody's head gonna roll. I can't eat if I'm spending more money on business than 22, 23%. If you spending more than that, you in trouble. I'm telling you from knowing and experience. That's our target. Cost of goods and services. So that's an idea for you right now to think about. Some of y'all ain't come back to see me in a while, so I ain't got to that part with you. Let's break down this business cost you got. Where you at? What's the dollar to you? How you break that dollar down? How much you spending on operations? How much you spending on personnel? It could be also you, out of your business. What that dollar look like? 23% here, 15% there, 20% there. Okay. That working for you? No. But that's what business people do for each other when they want to give them the truth. The raw truth, not what make you feel good, but what you need to know. And these folks up here have been very cordial and professional, but you get Christy in her office looking at you one-on-one. Or you get Ms. Hull in that office looking at you one-on-one, and you're their client. We didn't even talk about New York and New Jersey. But I know his whole conversation gonna change. The point I'm trying to make is this is very good. I think this was nice. I hope you all take this to the next level, and the next level is make your contacts, make your association. Like I said, you don't have to hire these folks. There's plenty of attorneys out there. You may even know some, but the steps are the same. The process is exactly the same. You tell them what you need. You're interviewing them. You're engaging them to figure out if this is who you want to have represent you and your business going forward. Who do you want to build your business with? You know, Christian woman, but I'm gonna tell you something. I'm a Christian man. But some conversation me and you might have, you might not think so much of a Christian man talking to you. So I'm just giving you a heads up. And you get in Christy's office and that whole conversation, man, you know, man, start out, praise Jesus, thank you, hallelujah. But when they get through, when she get through with you, breaking it down to you so you get the message, it might not sound or feel the same. But that's because everybody wants you to have the real truth about this world and what it's going to take to make it through it. You don't have friends in business. You either have associates, partners, customers.
Yeah.
That's it. Okay? Any other questions, anybody?
I do. One last
I
question.
should
I
know.
promise you.
That side over there, that side
No,
over there.
this is an easy one.
Okay.
Very easy one. I've been with my law firm since 1993. The reason why I asked a couple of questions is they basically refer me to local law firms, and that's why I asked that question. I would love to keep them. However, my question is would any of you, do you all accept referrals from other law firms like you were referring to just now? Is that a possibility? If I keep them, would you accept referrals from other law firms?
For us, absolutely. Sure. Yeah.
Okay, thank you much. That's it.
Sir in the back?
I just thought we were friends. You said we can't be friends?
We're partners. Friendship comes later. No, I'm just kidding. Go. You want to tell everybody who you are? Everybody who asks questions, you have to stand up, tell us the name and who they are, what they do.
I'm Dan Olbersky. I used to be a friend of Lee Ford's. Business partner with him. We're partners in Southwest Florida Impact Partners. We have a small development. We're building a couple houses together. And we do principally brokerage and commercial real estate in the market.
Okay. That was nice and quick and sweet. You don't normally do that, so that's good. Anybody else? Now, I'm just saying. I'm gonna let these folks get out that door without getting their cards or something. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I just want to introduce myself. My name is Danielle Clark. I just happened to call the office yesterday and found out about this event today. But I own Clark Law Office, and we deal with estate planning, probate, guardianship, and some other business matters. So if you would like to reach out to me, I can provide my information to you as well. So I just want to give that little spiel.
Okay, I only got part of that. Maybe I'm just my age. Can you say that again?
My name is Danielle Clark, and I own Clark Law Office.
Oh, okay.
And I handle estate planning issues, probate, guardianship, and also some business planning.
Okay, well, there's another resource for you, right? You go there, shake hands, say, well, tell me a little bit more about this. Anybody else?
Lee, I just got something before.
Well, you ain't allowed. Go ahead.
I just want to ask everybody if you could exit through this door when you leave. And also, if anybody have employees who are W-2, there's an ERC grant, but you have to have at least 2 or more. Southwest Florida Partners sponsor that ERC grant.
Anybody heard of that? You already in? You got it done already? So you're not issued.
I thought that was over.
Not yet.
ERC grant, not the opera grant.
What's the ERC?
The opera grant is over.
It's a federal grant where people who pay payroll taxes.
For what year?
I guess it's during COVID. And
Yeah.
Oh, it's just doing-
2019, 2021, 20.
You can get up to $26,000 refund for every employee during that time.
Question?
It's
Is
free.
that for new? Sorry. Ready for me? Is that for new hire or existing
You
hire
have to be employed during that time.
during those years? Okay, so existing.
Yeah, existing employees that work during that time. If you have 2 or more, that's a lot of money. And you ain't gotta do nothing but get on the phone, talk to the people, they qualify you, yes or no, real quickly, and you have nothing else to do with on the money.
What's the number for that
I'm just
information,
saying.
please? What's the contact number for that information, please?
Ms. Julie got it, she can email it.
Go ahead. Please, thank you, ma'am.
Anybody else? Anything else? Well, do you all have any closing comments or questions or anything? Because I'm trying to tell loose on you individually now, so they can, you know, I don't tell what might happen.
So for me, I just commend each of you all for having your own business, and I'm leaving some cards up here. I can't stay much longer because I literally calendared this until 1:30, but I will leave my cards up here. Feel free to reach out to me or my office if there's ever anything that you like.
Same as Christy, I've got a jet, but here are some cards, and it's awesome to see so many people that are starting a business. I just love when people just go out and try it. It's worth it. I think so.
I'd be happy to stay just a few more minutes afterward. That's
Okay.
fine.
All good?
Good.
Thank you.
Great. Tell your friends what they missed.
Chris, hi, New York City. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Not practicing. Sorry. Oh, but this is my business here. I want to,
There you go. We're going to have to make Wells Fargo,
yeah, just email me. My email we meet every Tuesday. 7 p.m. Yes. It's at the Hideaway Country Club, which is like Crystal Drive and Metro, sort of in that area. I can tell you all about it. Okay. And I'll register you as a member in advance. Okay. All right, great. Nice seeing you. So you have my card? It's worth it to come. So if you can email me, so I'll email you again. I think Chris is coming too. Oh, okay. And it's not that far from here. Is going 60,000. That's the average. I don't prepare contracts. I just review them or litigate them. I think we're used to review contracts. So, I don't do business. That's too boring.
How's it going?
Okay, how are you?
I partnered up with
Yours is like
I worked for that guy for 2 years and then one guy. Not only that, Max fell off the trip, so I think that I was a good
Okay.
They're independent contractors.
Yes, I actually bought property. His name.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't have written things. I left the job and found out what they gave me a pair of. I brought all somebody.
Just give me a call, and my paralegal will just put you on my calendar.
Okay.
I'm on a 6-month cycle partner.
Okay, I'm right now.
Okay. Yeah, that would be great.
Over in the plaza?
Yeah.
Okay.
Videos and photos that take up, they'll be posted on that website, okay?
Okay, thanks. Oh, great.
Yes, sir.
Do you have a cell phone?
We actually started, me and my son just started a business a couple of years ago.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah, nice to see you.
I'll call.
Yes, I do that.
Yeah.